Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Talks with Tammy. I'm Tamara Sterling, or Tammy, and I am a licensed clinical social worker and a quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner. So last week I started talking about my own QHHT session that I had about a year and a half ago, and I shared with you two life experiences that I was taken to during my session. Well, today I would like to share the other three life experiences, as well as the questions we asked my higher self and how they answered those. So what's interesting is the last two life experiences seem to be past lives here on Earth. Well, two more of the experiences actually were not on Earth at all. So the first one I had, I was like floating amongst the stars. It was like black out. I could see the stars, and there was a very bright white light behind me. And this light was very warm and loving and welcoming and peaceful. And my practitioner said, "It sounds amazing." And I said, "It feels amazing. I feel so free. I feel so at peace." And she said, "Well, why don't you just stay there for a little bit and we'll let you enjoy that before we move on." So I did appreciate that she did that because the experience was amazing. So then the next life experience that I went into, it's kind of funny because for much of my life, off and on, I have had dreams about being on a spaceship or about spaceships and other beings. So that's what happened in this session, in this life experience. I was on a spaceship and I could see the Earth outside of the window, and I was a blue being, and I was dressed in like white shimmery robes or clothing, and there was another blue being there. And basically this other being was saying to me, "Thank you for coming to Earth. Thank you for your service to humanity. We love you so much, and we appreciate what you've done." And so what I found amazing about that was, it kind of tied into some of those dreams that I've had in the past. I remember some dreams as a child that I used to live across the street from a railroad tracks, and on the other side of the tracks was a big open field. And I would dream that I was standing in front of in the door, looking out the window, and there would be all these spaceships that were there. It was never scary. It just, was kind of a strange thing to dream about. And then a couple of years ago, I had a dream where I was on a spaceship and I was like talking to a bunch of beings. I was laughing. We were all laughing. I was telling stories. And then all of a sudden I said, "I'll be right back. The human has to pee." And then I woke up and I had to go to the bathroom. So it was like, it made me wonder, what was I doing before, that happened? Was it really a dream or was something more? And then I had another dream in the last couple of years that I was standing on Earth, and all of a sudden I was being pulled backwards. So I was like face down looking at the Earth as I was being pulled backwards, and everything started to get smaller and smaller, and then I ended up on a spaceship with a window I was looking out of, and somebody said to me, "See, that's why we need you down there. The view is different." And it was kind of like, oh yeah, the view is much different from this perspective, being like above the Earth, looking down on it. You don't feel the density, you don't feel the feelings. So it is different when you're here on the Earth experiencing this. So I thought that was a very interesting dream too, and that type of life experience came up in my session. So the last life experience that I had was a very amazing one, and it seemed to be something about what's coming in the future. I don't know when or how or any of it, but I do know 5 years ago I was kind of going through a really rough time. I was kind of maybe having a spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that. I was questioning life and the existence and the meaning and purpose and all that, and my purpose and what I was doing here. And it was a really rough time for me. And I had this amazing dream one night that my husband and I were walking, holding hands, and this dream felt very physical, like I could feel his hand in mine. I was on the left, he was on the right, so he was holding my right hand. And as we were walking, it was like Earth, but it was different. So the sky was pink, like cotton candy pink, and there was a white light that was shining down to the ground. And we were walking towards this white light, and with some excitement. It was like there was some gathering that was going to happen. I could sense other people like around, but kind of in the shadows, and they were also moving to this light, and everybody just had that sense of excitement. And as we were walking too, it was like the plants and the trees, you could almost see their energy and they could see ours. And you could see as you got closer to them, the energy would start interacting with each other, so that they would start moving and waving and kind of thing as you're getting closer, which was a really neat experience. And then also, while we were walking, my husband let out this very big sigh of contentment and peace. And I could feel it within me. It felt very much like I could feel that. And so I turned and looked at him, and I'm like, gave him a look like, you finally understand, you finally get it. And then I was thinking, I remember anxiety and fear. Let me see if I can remember that feeling and pull that feeling back up again. And I couldn't do it. It didn't exist anymore within my body. I could not experience anxiety or fear. And so it was just an amazing dream. I kind of sat on that dream, didn't share it with anybody, because I didn't want anybody to kind of tarnish the way it felt, And about a week later, I finally told my husband, I'm like, I had this dream. And he's like, I had the same dream. I'm like, no way. And he said, yeah, I had the same thing. And he described it back to me, exactly what the dream was too, and the way he felt in the dream. So interesting enough, my last life experience in my QHHT session was that scene, but it also provided a little bit more details than my dream did. And basically, we were on our way to this gathering that more people were coming to visit, and our kids were included in that, and we were really excited to see our kids because we hadn't seen them in a while. I did notice that also, like one of my nephews and his family were there, and everybody was laughing and everybody was joyful and peaceful. The air smelled clean and fresh and amazing. The colors were vivid and bright, and it was just a very beautiful thing to experience. So after my 5 life experiences, we called in the higher self. And that's the part of you that kind of knows everything about you, all your incarnations, your purpose for being here, your connections with others. And we asked the questions. So the main thing why I wanted to know was, the experience and the shared dream that I had. And they said, and usually when the higher self comes in, curiously enough, the person having the session usually switches to third person instead of first person. While they're describing their life experiences, they speak in first person. When the higher self comes in, they generally shift to third person, which I did. So we asked the higher self, what was the purpose of showing me that scene? And they said, it's because that's what's coming. So I don't know what that means, whether it means Earth is shifting and changing. Dolores Cannon talked about that in her work and her books, that there is a shift happening now into one of unity, peace, love, and it's occurring now. So, or I don't know, maybe it's after I cross over to the other side and that's what's waiting for me. But whatever it is, it's amazing, and it really has reduced my fear of the future, or even dying, because whatever it is, it's amazing. But they said they wanted me to know, because I was in such a dark place, that they gave me that dream a couple years ago to give me hope. And they also gave it to my husband. They gifted it to him to have too, so that it would validate it for me. Otherwise, they knew that I would just kind of brush it under the rug and say it was just a dream, right? So they wanted to verify or validate with me through my session that something amazing is coming for humanity, or maybe me after I cross, who knows. And we did ask some of my questions. At that time, we were considering going to be full-time RVers. We were in the process, and I was getting a little cold feet. Is this the right decision and everything? I asked if that was the right thing, and the higher self said, yes, she will like that. So that was good to know. I asked what I should be doing next in my career, because I was kind of at crossroads. I had lost a lot of my business working in assisted living facilities doing counseling during COVID, and it never quite bounced back after that. So I asked if, what I should be doing, and they basically said everything is shifting and changing so much, it really doesn't matter what you do, do what you enjoy, kind of thing. So that was not very specific, but also I know I've come to learn that the higher self often doesn't say, yeah, you should go work at this company. They don't often do that. They want you to pursue the things that bring you joy. And if you can turn that into a career, that's great. If you can't, then when you're not working, they want you to pursue those things that bring you joy. I've experienced feelings of jealousy throughout my life, and that was becoming a theme too. When I was having my hard time, when I was going through my rough time. And so we asked about that, and they actually said that was actually residue left from another past life, but I didn't need to carry it anymore. So the practitioner asked if we could release that, and they said yes. And she said, can we replace that? Can we fill up the space that it leaves with something else? And the higher self said joy. So that was amazing too. That was a very healing experience. Now, just not to say that I haven't still felt some jealousy, but it's not as intense, and I kind of now see it like, okay, I don't have to feel this. This wasn't mine from this life necessarily. It was this other life. So that was an amazing thing too. They also knew that I had been kind of feeling some loneliness, kind of feeling a little different because of my awakening process. And they said that I would be meeting people that, understood what I was talking about and where I was coming from. And it would become a game for me. Like, I'd be out in public like, hey, am I going to meet somebody that, gets what I'm saying about things, today. So that was kind of fun, and it has happened, and one day I'll share that experience with you too. One of them that was most profound, maybe in next week's session. So that's pretty much what happened. And there was one more thing that was significant. When we were ready to wrap up my session, she said, is there anything else that she needs to know or whatever? And they said, there's a pain in her side. And I had been having kind of a pain in my left side. And she asked, what is that about? And they said, it was kind of like, and I've never been really like a really religious person. I was raised Catholic, but not real religious. They said it was like kind of like when Jesus had the spear in his side. It was kind of like that pain was a reminder that I needed to open my heart wider, keep opening my heart. And as I continued to do that, that pain would naturally go away. And so since my session, it's been 1.5 years ago, I've worked really hard on my own healing, and getting to a really good place emotionally and more centered and peaceful in my own life. And it has subsided. In fact, I had completely forgot about it until I was preparing for this video for this week. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about what things you can learn about during a quantum healing hypnosis technique session, or the questions you can get answered, the healing that you can get. If you would like to have a session, please visit my website at tamarasterlinglcswqhht.com, and you can book a session. I am doing them in person in Brooksville, Florida. If you're somewhere in the vicinity, somewhere in Florida, I'm willing to make arrangements for you, to meet somewhere too, if you want to do it that way. So thank you for joining me. And next week's topic, I'd like to discuss a little bit about emotions. So join me next Tuesday for Tuesday Talks with Tammy. Thank you very much. Bye.